You are tuning into Engaging Walk. This week we will discuss our second part in our vision series, which is the power of goal setting, how to make your dreams a reality, and aligning your goals with your vision. If you're new to the podcast, my name is Drake.
And my name is Rubie. We are passionate about building strong family connections.
We've seen how impactful a simple walk together can be. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date.
All right, so let's keep going with the conversation as we get into today's content. So let's dive into the power of goal setting. First, we're going to look into what is the goal, and based on the dictionary.com, it said to the object of a person, ambition or effort, or is an aim or desired result. Let's say you have a vision is like a big picture, and then every single step toward that big picture, that is your goal. And we have, in terms of step, there's some long-term step and then also short-term steps. We call it long-term goal and short-term goal. And do you have any explanations for that for our listener?
Yeah, so I think if you're thinking vision is like an for me at least, I think of a vision as like an all-encompassing vision. It's tough to explain it without using the word, but you sort of have in your mind's eye a view of what you want your life to look like at a certain point. Or it could be like your company or your band or at a certain aspect of your life, you're thinking, well, my vision is all these different things come together and they're all working together in this sense. And then your goals are individualized, and they can be very specific or they can be a little bit more broad. And like Rubie was saying, that there are long-term and short-term goals. So like your major goal might be, or a long-term goal, like I want to go to law school and graduate summa cum laude. Like that's a big goal. Whereas like your small goals along the way might be like get a good score on the LSAT, and then you have smaller goals within that. So as we continue to move forward and as we continue to progress towards our overall vision, we have small goals and bigger goals, and they keep almost like accumulating and snowballing until we culminate into our overall vision. So that's what we're going to start really breaking down in today's episode.
Cool. And so, you already explained the next questions that I want to ask is how are goals different from a vision or your dream? And just like you mentioned that a goal, is practical and smaller picture compared to a vision, right?
Yeah, I think that's a really helpful way to think about it. It's because we can have so many different. I think a great example is like playing guitar or learning an instrument, because your overall vision is like, I'm going to be this guitar player, or I'm going to be this amazing drummer, and you have like a vision in your head of like playing in front of thousands of people, but that doesn't just like happen overnight. It doesn't happen for anybody like that, unless maybe you're like Justin Bieber. But there's lots of people that are like, okay, that's my dream, my vision. Okay, well, first you got to learn how to tune it.
True.
Then you have to learn little baby steps along the way. And with an instrument, it's very concrete. Yesterday I couldn't play this. Today I can. Life goals are the same way. They're just not always as concrete.
It's true. And I'm not sure if you are familiar with that, but we do have like a file, which is you can go into our website, engagingwalk.com, and look for a blog section. We will post the resources there. So you can find goal action plan where we have, kind of like a template for you. You can put out your goal and your why and your motivations. And because we mentioned that goal is very like a very detailed thing in compared to the vision. So we have a start date, a deadline, and stuff like that. So go ahead and go into our website and find out the resources that you need, so that we hope that you can stay engaged in your planning with your goal setting.
And I think I want to actually go back to this idea of the definition, because the object, like my wife said, that the object of a goal is defined as the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. And I think it really helps to identify that as your ambition, your desire, and that the word desire is very well placed, because your goal comes from your heart. It comes from like your desire for yourself, and your goals aren't always going to be the same as like your parents' goals for you, or we're going to talk a little bit later about like your spouse and your loved ones. They're not always going to align, so you have to always look into your heart and say, what do I want for myself? And I think that goes into really well into the quote, or this really great idea that my wife pulled up, which is this one. I really want to hear her thoughts on that.
So let's move to the next one. The question is if I have a goal already, then how do I make my goal and my dreams become a reality? And I think I pick up a speaker mentioned that, and it just like so practical and so powerful. So he said that the more focused you are, the less encouragement you need. It's so true, because if we are so focused on what we so desire for our heart, for our growth, for who we are, then the less encouragement from around we need, because the goal that we have, or the vision that we've driven ourselves to the point is like all you want is just finish it. You want to achieve it. So yeah, it's really a powerful statement.
Yeah, like my wife was saying, is like it really goes towards the idea of that desire. So the more burning that desire is, the more, just this weekend I was talking with my sister about David Goggins' book, which that man had just like such a desire to become a Navy SEAL, and he was willing to run on broken legs to achieve that goal and to realize his dream of becoming a Navy SEAL. And that focus that he had was so strong that even broken legs couldn't deter him from running on them and doing whatever he needed to do to make that dream a reality. And that's very powerful. And to tapping into that desire, to tapping into how and aligning ourselves with that is such an important and amazing feat that we can achieve as human beings, where we could do whatever it is that we need to do in order to accomplish our goals. But they all have to be aligned. And I think that's really what we're driving at in today's episode, is how impactful our goals can be when they're aligned with what we want, when we know how to achieve them, and we can see the little steps that can get us there to a bigger and overall picture.
And the other thing that we also would love to share, what we learned from, is the SMART goal. Is start with make it small and specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and T for time bound. So also you can find it on our engagingwalk.com under the blog. So these are the powerful things when you are, have a goal setting, because sometimes we can go, to the rabbit trails, but then the SMART goal plan mapping will help us to like, okay, whatever that I want to put myself into, is that plan feasible? Is that plan practical? Is that plan help me to achieve things, or defer me back to like disappointments, So that thing, I think is very powerful resources to like bring it. You can, like, for example, one vision can have so many different goals and steps. and then break it down and then bring it into using the smart goal mapping, and to see like, okay, for this section, for example, physical or career, with the smart goal, break it down to smaller steps to make sure that is it helping me to achieve the goal or not.
Yeah, I think, just like if we're going back to this like guitar player analogy or guitar player vision of like, I'm going to be the world's greatest guitar player. Well, that's not specific. I mean, it is that you're the world's greatest guitar player, but it's actually not measurable. Like, who's going to measure that you're the world's greatest guitar player? It's so subjective. It's so grandiose and out there that there's no way to like really determine like if you've ever been able to get there. So it definitely helps to have smaller goals that are measurable and specific. Well, you can only be the best guitar player that you can be. Okay, so how do I measure that? What's an achievable or an attainable aspect of that? Well, maybe it could be like, I
How many
learned how to play
albums
this song.
or how many like singles or albums that I can sell.
Yeah, and you build those up along the way to be like, okay, yeah, we're going to talk about this in later parts of the series, but celebrating those successes along the way, and we'll, like I said, we're mentioning that, and that's going to probably be the next week's episode. But all of those things make the goal something that can actually be obtained. And then the other really important aspect of that is the time bound, and if it's relevant to your overall vision. So if it's time bound, you give yourself a deadline, and that way you can make yourself accountable to yourself. So if like, oh, I didn't achieve it this time, and your partner can actually be a really great resource, but we'll get into that a little bit more later.
So it again, like these are resources just helping you go back to the questions like, are my goals are really moving me closer or further to my overall vision? So they aligning our goals with our visions is very powerful skill, because we can just have so big dreams, big vision, and having goals for that. But sometimes things happen, life happens, and it's hard to pick and choose, and asking ourselves, is whatever I'm doing right now, is it align my goal with my vision? Then that will help me to eliminate those unnecessary options. For example, if you want to go to the gym early in the morning, then one of the goal for me would be like sleep early.
Yeah.
So that, because I know my body, if I'm not sleep 8 hours, I won't function well. And that will be longer for me to get up and drag myself to the gym. So if I make sure myself sleep early, then that won't be a problem, and then that plan is helping me toward my vision. Now if my good friend or best friend texts me, hey, want to hang out, and I know that we're gonna talk, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna have fun, good time, then that will interfere with my goal, right? So now I have to ask myself, is hanging out with my good friend or best friend align my goal with the vision that I want for myself in 2024? If not, then what are the options? Can I hang out earlier so that I can still have 8 hours of sleep, or another day that I don't schedule myself to go to the gym? Something like that. So asking yourself about like, okay, whatever I'm doing right now, even I really like it, but is it helping me to achieve the goal with the visions that I want for myself? Then we can eliminate things that is unnecessary for us.
Yeah, I think also coupling with that is we also have to give ourselves grace and let life take us where it's going to go, because sometimes we have unrealistic visions for what the future holds for us. And I'll give you guys an example that before I had joined the Navy, I thought like, oh, I'm going to be working on all this like really high-tech stuff, and it was like really going to consume all my time. and I was really going to love it, and that I would essentially become like a monk and like really dive deep into that world and learn as much as I can and really just focus only on that. And then like, so I had like set myself up for like this laser focus that really didn't happen, and one, because I didn't really understand what that world was going to look like. And then once I got there, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's actually really not something that I can even really reasonably do, because I'm not doing those things all the time. There's all these other things that I have to do, and those things end up being more important. And life takes you sort of in a different direction. But that overall idea that I had of using those 4 years, or in this case 6, to like really dive deep into a topic and really become an expert did happen. It just didn't happen exactly the way that I thought. That I ended up doing a lot more other things that were just as impactful and just as important in my life than having that laser focus on one topic. So allowing yourself that grace, allowing yourself some room for other things, let's call them distractions, can be and should be, accepted, but to what degree is going to be on like a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Well, since we talk about a lot of personal stuff, let's dive into what does it look like to do that with your partner? Because most of us that we are on the podcast, we're in a relationship or we, in marriage. So what does it look like to do that with your partner? Because now it's two, not just one person.
Yeah, you always have to account for the other person, your love partner in your life, whether it be your spouse or fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend. And we always talk about moving through life together and how important it is to move through life together, but also going back to our 2 cups in a bowl analogy, that if your cup isn't being filled, you don't have anything to bring to that overall bowl of the relationship. So, for example, if you have all these physical needs in terms of like going to the gym, dieting, and these things aren't happening, then that can be a problem for you as an individual and can affect your individual health, which down the line can affect the relationship if you're having health complications. So that's a one view of how that 2 cups in a bowl analogy works.
Yeah, and I love that. If you're new to the podcast, this is the one of the analogy that we came to, one day we realized that, oh yeah, even though we two become one, they still two individuals that learn how to become one. That means that if we take good care and responsible for ourselves and our growth and our individual, then like Drake mentioned, we can pour so much more into the bowl, which is 2 of us. And it's very powerful when a person full on passionate, enthusiastic into the future, because that mindset is so needed to empower the other person too. And so for me to bring, so I have to be powerful, be ready to pull back into first I have to feel my life first so that I can pull it into our togetherness. And I think a lot of sharing, communicating, and transparent with one another, so that the other person can know, like, okay, what is my 2024 look like, and how can they become my powerful advocate for my visions and goals. And for me, I encourage you that just do it by yourself. These resources are on our website again, that you can find it under the blog. That do it for yourself first, and then have another time with your partner and share, like, hey, this is my my goals, this is my vision for 2024, and can you be my powerful advocate for these things? Because when we learn how to come together and fuel things that are so meaningful to you, and now you can run it together, that will be so beautiful journey and beautiful connection and powerful connection that you can create with your partner.
Yeah, I always think that was really beautiful. Good job.
Thank you.
But it made me think a lot about motherhood, and something that I've been thinking a lot about lately, especially with our pregnancy and everything, and and about what role the father plays. And we're going to talk about this later on in some of our later episodes. That definitely want you guys to catch in on that. But just quickly, how it relates to this whole idea of like goal setting is that foundational support that we provide to each other as either husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, moving into that area of marriage is so important, because we can't accomplish as much as we can unless we're together, unless we're syncopated and working together and working in unison. And I think that really made me think a lot, especially like with motherhood, because especially with a child on the way, or with a child, yes, our child is the child is the focus, but more importantly, the other parent is the focus, because we support the child by supporting each other. The stronger we are together as parents, the stronger the child has of being able to draw from the parents and to help use them as their support. So, that made me think a lot about, when we support each other like that, it pays so much dividends, not just for our spouse, but also for us, because now we have so much strength to look towards, just like Rubie was saying, is like that is a source of inspiration and ambition that we can use to guide us in our own journey, especially when we see those things realized.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I totally agree.
And so when we allow our partner that space so that they can grow and that they can achieve their dreams, like I said, that's an empowering and an inspirational source for us, for our children, and for all those around us. So we want to provide that, but also the main way that we do that is by making those shared goals and making those shared visions, and by making those things known to each other. So one of the things that we did actually was created a dreams list of like all of our dreams.
Is it a to-do list together?
We were doing a Danny Silk's course.
Oh, I remember that.
And it was like dreams together, and like we had written down like all these dreams that we had, and going back to them like 6 months to a year later was like, oh wow, look at all these dreams that we accomplished, and look at all these dreams that we still have yet to achieve together. And yeah, it gives so much purpose and so much vision for how we're going to live our lives when we write these things out, when we look at them and can have that satisfaction of marking them off. And like, yeah, we did that. That was so much fun. And then even to go back years later and to reflect on them and to like really see just how much we can accomplish together as couples. Because I think that's like the reason why we're brought together. Mm-hmm. Is not just for the emotional and love that we need together, but all of the growth that happens when we hold each other accountable, when we work together, and when like our rougher edges are polished by fusing together with our partner. So like I adopt some of Rubie's mentality, and she adopts some of mine, and that's why we become attracted to each other, is like those qualities that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. And I mean, when I heard you share, your journey and our journey together, it just brought me back to the feeling and the thought that I think I thought it at the beginning, or beginning of the marriage or the beginning of, our relationship, that I always imagine what does it look like to do life with another person. It's going to be challenging for sure, but it's going to be so fun and so rewarding, because now I don't have to now I have two perspectives on that problem or on that challenge. And then I have a trusted person that can bounce back and forth my thoughts, and also hearing that person's thoughts. And it's really very fun journey for me to do that with you. And I hope that you guys also have the same journey too. Like sometimes communication breakdowns, or sometimes how do I say this, misunderstanding happens, but the more we try to communicate and heart-to-heart connection with one another, the journey becomes so beautiful and so meaningful and so rewarding, because now you get to do life with another person. And it's not just any person, that is a trusted person that you can trust, you can hold on to, you can accountable for, and I don't know, for me, one word I just can, describe it, is beautiful. And I hope that no matter where you are in your relationship stage, or your marriage, I really hope that for 2024 that you get to experience the beauty of togetherness and walking together. And so, well, are you ready for the assignment?
Yeah. So I'll give you guys the assignment for this week. It's we've mentioned a few times at least this this documents that we have on our website. So if you go to www.engagingwalk.com, you can find our it's basically like a beautiful layout sheet that my wife made, and it's got the goal plan and it's got the SMART goal. So that way it's actually really helpful, because it'll help you really analyze this goal that you have and all the different facets of it. And you can use this sheet to, you print it out, or you can, write out all the different topics on your phone, on your notepad, and hold yourself accountable to the goals that you have in order to better your life. And that's what Engaging Walk podcast is all about. And then, of course, doing this as couples and doing this together through our life journey together, just like my wife was talking about. It is a beautiful journey, and having goals, having productive things that we can do along the way is what makes it all worthwhile. And it's, so that's what our goal assignment is, or our assignment is for this week. So go onto the website, go under the blog tab. And if you look under the blog for this week's episode, you will be able to see the SMART goals map and then the goal action plan. So give that a visit, mark off whatever goals that you have, and fill it into your leisure. And let us know in the comments if you find us either on YouTube or on Instagram or Facebook. You can find us and let us know what you think.
And just to add on to that, the assignment, so that let's say that your vision board, you have fitness, faith, family, hobby. So there's so many categories under the vision board. So you can use the goal action plan for specific, for example, multiple time. What I was trying to say is that you can use it for fitness, and then you can use it again for a family, and you can use it again for career, to break it down. So you can use it multiple times, how many times that you need it. But we hope that will, you will find it helpful for your new year. And with that, we thank you for tuning in and making our podcast a part of your day. And thank you so much for spending time with us. That means so much to both of us. And we hope that you can take our encouragement walk and make it your own. And stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to discuss about overcoming obstacle and staying motivated on the path to your goals.
Yeah, and then don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date. This is Drake.
And this is Rubie from Engaging Walk. And we're signing out.